uh, our dear guest and friend. You know, I'm sure at least a couple of faces we still met on Sunday. Now, I think that it will be very useful if I won't adopt the apartment style. So what I'll try and do, I mean, is that I think it would be nice and very useful if we can just quickly introduce ourselves. You understand? And I'm hoping you see that what you say, I don't want anybody to start for your end, and I think that it's very smart. Can you take note of people that we have there so that we know?
So I should start.
Yes.
I come on Monday.
So please, can you write it down from this day?
The nation are representing the Belarus and Moscow.
Okay, thank you.
Why is that from the nation?
Nation, okay.
Almost.
Okay, so thank you very much. So, of course, my name is Tokunbo Abiru. I'm the senator representing Lagos East, the current 10th senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that's Timothy. Timothy is the facility manager of this particular facility. That's the Gabisola. He coordinates this, and I'll explain as we go along. So, he coordinates, but why he manages the distinction between the two. I will explain, and then I'm sure you know anything. Where's anything now? Where is the branch guy? Now sit down now. As some of the documented evidence of some of the things that were done or are done in the course of this journey. You understand? So we have variants, I mean, because we try as much as possible to document some of these major milestones. It's not been, I mean, it's been a long journey, and I don't know exactly where to start. But I think it's more of a journey of 60 years, if you understand. So I'll do a bit of talking, but I'll also invite for questions and all of that. So basically, by the grace of God, exactly on this coming Monday, you know why do I say now? So that I don't adjust myself. So now I'm fasting. To manage my strength. Because I can't do what I can't do anything. By our boyers, you can see it's fasting too. So, not before I go, a bit of background. So I was saying that by the grace of God on Monday, I will be turning 60. Although I know I look older than 60. No. So I'll be turning 60 years, and I think that, for ordinarily, it calls for major celebrations, for a life that is very worthwhile, But again, you look at the mood of the country, given all that is happening that we all know, I think that in all that we do, we should try to also show empathy, even in the Islamic faith. The Almighty Allah says, when I give you, you rejoice. When I take from you, you show some, you should sober. You understand what I'm saying? So the life is that I just felt that rather than going to any major celebrations and all of that, one, I'll give, of course, there will be, and there is very good reason to give thanks and appreciation to Almighty Allah, which I will certainly do to my own style. Yeah. And of course, but again, we have to just moderate some sort of whatever that we have to do with celebrations that we are particularly used to, particularly in this part of the country. Having said that, I will still try in my own little way to reach out to my constituents particularly. So as we speak, I think we made very adequate arrangements at least to touch the lives of the most vulnerable people. And our target is to actually touch about 10,000 families, with food packages and all of that, which have been arranged. And I think that that's just fine. So you just send it across. Of course, some people will want how it's going to be distributed. Of course, the party structure is there. It's very paramount. You have to show loyalty and discipline to the party. But again, we also will ensure that it reaches the larger society So we have a structure that we've always done within my own system here that we're going to use. So that is about the day. So it's a special day. There's a time for self-reflection. There's a time for also to show empathy. But that way, in all of that, we also show appreciation to those that have supported us thus far. So that is clear with that. Now, but I know that you know a bit about my background, but I also think that I should speak to it. So actually my origin is actually from where we are. So there are several reasons why we're using this place. This is where I actually grew up. When I say grew up, not only in this community but in this very house. This used to be my father's house. You understand? And by the time we're going to know when we go around, see behind you here, that is his cordon behind you here. That's my father's tomb. That's where he lives to rest. And so when we go around, I'll show you, even if you think that there's a senator today, and I tell you, I'll show you my little room. Growing up, you see the size of the room. So if I try to do it, I can say, just remind them, you know where I used to be. You understand? So I actually grew up there, and of course, it's one of the reasons why I chose that we should have it here. I could have said, maybe have it in Abuja, just a conversation and all of that, but I just thought it was one. It's also always good to trace yourself to your origin. Two, also, of course, also show affiliation to your people. So I come from a family that in this part of Nigeria is global. I mean, my grandfather used to be the keeper of the used to be all back. You can see that. So he used to be a notable, that's my grandfather. And of course, my dad too. Of course, in his own lifetime, it was a time that you could be two personalities at the same time and at different times. So he was a lawyer in his lifetime. He was also a senator of the Federal Republic, and he was also a judge. So you can understand. But you see that can happen now.
Yeah.
You understand? So I mean, of course, and what I can say is that in his lifetime, part of what we see today is part of the values. Like we're 10, my siblings, I think about 10 of us. So one, my middle brother is a justice of the Supreme Court today. So at least what one man did, two young boys or two men are struggling to, but again, we should do at times. I mean, we're fortunate. So, but again, we have to give respect and to what it is in his lifetime, which of course has impacted us. And we've been gone now for almost about we're in 2024. So by now, I think it's been gone now for 26 years. So you can imagine. But again, the values and those norms that is inculcated is what still keeping us very strong today. So that's a bit about that. And of course, by training, I'm an economist and a chartered accountant as well, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. And of course, that I did practice accounting for too long. So running a bit with Akitola Williams and Co that we call Deloitte. And that time used to be one of the big four that we have in the country. But I wasn't too sure I was comfortable with accounting is good. I mean, in terms of molding and shaping the way you understand life, business, and all of that. So I mean, very quickly realized that I would do a lot better in banking. It wasn't the money I was looking for. So, and I tell you, it wasn't the money because I actually started my career with Guarantee Trust Bank. And for those who knew Guarantee Trust Bank then, Guarantee Trust Bank was just over 1 year older than you. They were perhaps the least trained bank in the country. But they had a culture that was very, very encouraging for young minds, particularly if they are coming from a professional background. So their ethos are very strong. And I'm sure you still see it in the way you carry the brand thus far. So you are talking about whether professionalism, training, trying to equip young minds. And as a matter of fact, which will also speak to why this place has been turned into this facility. Guarantee Trust Bank was the first bank in Nigeria that started what is called online real-time banking. So while people used to wonder, I recall that people used to wonder that why are these young minds, that is Fola Adiola and Tyler Abiru, why were they spending so much money on facade and also on technology? But they wanted to do away with what used to be a practice as at that time. For those who can remember very clearly, that was a time when, I remember that when I was going to university, when I was in university, when I'm issued a check by my husband, you go to Union Bank, it's like a whole day's affair. You understand? So if you had a local check, it will take you 5 days to clear. If you had a local country check, it will take you 14 days and all of that. So that was what their own vision was. And how do we cut all of these transaction cycle to make life more efficient and all of that? So those were the attractions. So when you see young men, I was like 24, 25. These guys were just 35 and 36. If you recall, for those who remember, and that was just the attraction. So it wasn't so much of the money, but at the end of the day, it was also about the money because the money mattered. You know what I mean? So I had a great career there. I was there for about 10 years. So starting from the very elementary position as an executive training to a manager by the time by the year 2000. And of course, as young men, you try, when you're younger, you can still play around with some risks. So I made a couple of attempts, and but very quickly, the part of the training that Pianito now will do, you realize that, when things are not working, just better just quit. So very quickly, I think I first tried my hands with the National Bank. A friend of mine, he's also turning 60. I think either the next month in April. I was a manager, he was a senior manager in corporate finance. I think I was in commercial banking. He was going to take the same chance that we had that we thought for that time. So he was going to lead the turnaround of National Bank. So the National Bank was just coming around. I followed, and I told him that yes, how to do the magic. But very quickly, I realized that the part of government is still well entrenched in National Bank. So within 3 months, I was out of the place. So I'm going to try the game, went to what used to be called First Atlantic Bank and all of that. That again, I realized that some of the values one had gained in Guarantee Trust Bank was not enough. So again, I retraced myself, but now sent it to First Bank. Now people didn't understand that they thought, so you can imagine the size of First Bank that from somebody coming from a gradually upcoming and growing banks and all of that. But I thought, but at the end of the day, I think it made a lot of sense going to First Bank. So the First Bank, I spent about 15 years there. So we had that was almost like 25 and 26. And so I got to the level of an executive director. But I think what is more important about First Bank is that it gives you a better understanding as to how you manage yourself anywhere you find yourself in life. You understand? And by that I'm speaking to the experience in Guarantee Trust and the experience in First Bank. So in Guarantee Trust Bank, you run banking, you run business as if you are an entrepreneur. There's a lot of aggression, a lot of energy. That's what you get. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. But when you get to a place like First Bank, it also disciplines you as to how you navigate when you are in a very large host. Some of the things that perhaps you take for granted in small size environments, you begin to learn, so the maturity continuum now begins to settle in. So and in later day life, it has actually helped. So when I look at because I had a stint in government between 2011 and 2013, when I was Commissioner of Finance for the past budget. Now, the combination of the two experience, both in terms of agility, pace and all of that, and the maturity. So when it comes to civil service, you must know how to, so those values, those experiences, it came into you. So your guess is as well. So even in the current responsibility I have today, it also speaks volume because it helps you. You might think that you are young, I'm no longer then at 60. I'm not sure. Even if I pretend to be young, I'm sure in your mind you know you are an old man. But what I'm trying to say is that it helps you understand how you manage yourself in any complex administration. You know, I mean, managing Nigeria is a complex in whatever. So to navigate, you have the kind of exposure that I have gathered. You know, it makes I mean, it's not as if it is easy, but I tell you what, it's at least it helps. You get your frustrations and all of that, but you also know how to make yourself efficient. You call a meeting here now for 9, you guys are here for 9. You know that if you are to be a government setting, you just must be ready to manage the, you know, the
Delays.
what is it?
Delay.
The delays and all of that. So, but again, but you shouldn't take away your own style of being constructive and all of that. So, I would say that for me, both the experience in the antitrust and that of First Bank has really helped in shaping the person that I am today. So, and of course, thereafter, I think after First Bank, I also had the privilege of being, you know, nominated to handle the turnaround of the sinking sky back there. It was a real major assignment, and it was a CBN-led intervention and all of that. So, I mean, but again, that's how that kind of experience comes in. Because you suddenly find yourself managing an institution with almost 11,000 staff. It is not an easy call because people are coming, and for those who remember Skybank as at that time, you know, it came from the merger of several other banks very early in the consolidation years. So you had the likes of Eco International, Cooperative Bank, Bond Bank, you know about whether Renaissance or whatever. So you had about 5 or 6 of them. So thereafter, they now went and acquired Main Street Bank, which used to be Afribank. So you can imagine the clash of culture that you now be contending with. So, but again, if you have a robust background, I mean, that is a big balance you can navigate. And of course, it was a tough responsibility, but within a couple of years, we were able to kind of stabilize, put it on the path of profitability, and also improve on all of the prudential ratios. So, I mean, of course, it's what you call Polaris Bank today. You know, and after that had been done, I think after I'd run it for about 2 years, then the former CBN governor there, I personally approached him because by other members of the board, you know, they were comfortable hanging around, and I said to him, I said, look, all of the assignments, all of the mandates that you have given us, there were 3. Said we should stabilize the bank, we should improve the prudential ratios, and put on the path of profitability. He said we've achieved all of that. So what are we doing here? He said, so what do I mean? I said, look, the only thing is diversity. If you don't divest this thing, because all of the construction or whatever was more of, you know, we were using taxpayers' money to cure a private enterprise. So, I mean, once you do that, I mean, it now becomes a government-owned entity. You have got to find a way to kind of, I mean, set it up because banking is a very competitive business. So holding on to it is not going to do you anything. And that was what led to my own retirement. So when he said, but you are a young man, I said, Governor, it's not about young, it's about, you know, we have done what we are meant to do. I mean, you haven't given me this call to do the divestment, but all of the mandate that you gave, we have achieved. So I am just ready to move on. So of course, that was where the opportunity of public service came. It wasn't as if it was planned. So when I see people at times that they say, resign to go and contest, I say, I didn't resign, I retired from one call because I would put about 29 or 30 years in one profession. I think that, well, unless of course you wanted to own it, I wasn't ready to own the bank. I didn't think I had the resources. So I just let me just take it out. So it was in that process that the opportunity came to come into public service. So, and I had to take it upon myself. Well, I don't know whether to admit, in as much as I took it up, I probably didn't know how deep what the river was, you know. But again, I mean, sorry, please. I think I'm going to learn more about Nigeria, let me put it that way, more about the people, you know, and I think that if you ask me, I think that if the opportunity presents itself at any time, I will take it up again. And particularly, for somebody with a corporate background, you know, a lot of my friends were scared, when they called firstly. And I think the first thing I did was to look at and to seek out opinion of about 5 different mentors who are professionals as well, And I recall that of the 5, 4, they are older people. Most of them, 2 of them are in their 80s. I mean, there is a Chief Otuka, if you know Chief Otuka of Nestle, I think I approached him. I approached Bola Adiola. I approached Konya Ajayi, um, Mohammed Ayatollah. Those are some of the people that I used to talk to. Then I'm trying to remember the 5th person. I think it was either Oyo Dukale, I was shocked as to all of the encouragement that I got, and I was mentioned why why it is important that I said. I mentioned it. So about 4 of them, I won't tell you the 5th person that said that even moved there. So 4 very strongly encouraged, and in fact, what 1 or 2 of them said is that, look, I don't want to hear that you turn it down, But so the 5th person, but he's a bit reconciled, There wasn't even any friction. I just told him, when you have a sample of 5 and 4, I feel it's just enough for you to move on. So I went to the 5th guy because of the mutual respect that we have. I just did it. I said, just come for this, you understand what I'm saying? And I never since I embarked on the journey, and I think now come to realize why most of them encourage it. And it's what I say to my friends, my own friends who are professionals. Please, how is it going? My response to them is not about how is it going. How do you become part of it? Because I think that what we owe the country is for a lot of us that we think we know to be part of this. Either we call it the construction of the country. Because I think we have left that vacuum for too long. That you can only get what you are putting. You understand what I'm saying? And I without any disrespect for those who are going ahead to fill the vacuum. Yeah, nature wants is vacuum. So if we don't go, and those who go there, whatever will get out. So I think that in all of the arrangements, I see the reason why a lot of people who think that they know better should be part. Either in terms of elective post or being a part of administration, I think is important. And I think that is the only way we can actually move the country forward. Because nobody is going to do it for us. I know you find foreign government you can only just make recommendations. IMF tells you to do this. World Bank says you should do this. But you must also have guys who can make sure what they are saying and say, yes, this is the way to navigate. Otherwise, you just follow the pill. Whether you have the right doctors speaking to you or you have the wrong one, whatever the outcome is. So for me, that has been the case. So I formally joined this. So I formally joined this in in December 2020, and I'm sure you all recall the circumstance. We lost one of the best guy that was there, during the COVID, so they still continue to work with this. And of course, I needed to feel that. So the elections were held in December 5th, precisely, 2020. And of course, and of course, there were a lot of lessons that I learned was an off-site election. Off-site means stand alone. And of course, it will also speak to why this place has been configured to what it is today. So, but then I'll come to that later when I talk about this facility here. So, so I was now formally sworn in, I think, December 15, 2020, and it was that very day that the senator to adjourn for Christmas. So we do the conference January 14, 2021. So I can say technically, my new life as a politician started formally January 14, that's the month of 2021. And of course, It's been a roller coaster. Let me put it that way. I've since run another, general election alongside others, and I have my experience. So maybe if there are questions around it, I can share. One thing that I can just very quickly just run around some of the things that I have been able to do. So if you look at, so most of the documents that you have on your table, you will speak to most of the things that I've done. And I think that the little time that I had between the December 15th and that January was the time spent, in actually conducting what I call a needs assessment, just to understand the environment, because remember that this was not planned, it was somehow accidental. Um, Now, it also, during the campaign being offside, we needed to move around because people didn't, they might know the family name, but they probably didn't even understand why this DDC come into this play, and then they just think they should accept it. Even if, yeah, we were in an APC territory, you understand. So it afforded me, moving around nooks and crannies of Lagos, to places where, fine, even in Ikorodu here, this is where I never visited. So, but one thing was always very important. When you go on campaigns and all, it's unfair and all of that. But one thing I used to notice was that the women, those elderly women, that's why all of the security and all of the whatever they put around me, they always find a way to sneak to get to me. And their concern was essentially around jobs for their children. All of this running around and all of that, it's jobs for their children. So maybe I should quickly. And so when the elections were over and I had time to reflect before we came in formally, and before I resumed formally. So I now began to wonder that these jobs, yes, Nigerian economy are struggling, we all know. But when we come to the economic section, we talk about that. And it has always struggled. And we can see what a lot of things that we hear today, part of what the current administration is confronted with today, they are essentially distortions of what we call mismanagement of the past. And of course, so the issue around the economy has always been with us. So when I reflected on all of the concerns of the women, and I also tried to situate it, with my experience in the twilight of my professional career. What came out clearly was that yes, indeed, we have issues around unemployment, the economy that, of course, we are just trying to make sure that work for the benefit of the people. But you see, one thing that I noticed or that I realized from my last assignment before I came into the political space was that, and I shared that experience, so I said the last call that I had was to try to resuscitate. They are calling it that are calling
Yes.
so I can, if I put it there, I tell you, is it okay?
Yes.
So that experience, the experience of Skybank into Polaris, I tried to situate it with what those women are saying, and I think that there was a lot of sense and I see a way out. So what was that experience? So the experience was that, when you are managing a bank that is challenged, and CBN has actually identified that bank as a trouble bank, the first thing is that you are coming into the service, just know that the problem must have started almost 2 years before we bring you. So that is former managers will have been struggling to resolve or to find a way out, and they won't have had a solution. So it is good that it is almost in the verge of sinking. And for those who remember, Skybank was one of those systematically important banks on the side. You understand? So meaning that you couldn't afford it to sink. Otherwise, it has serious implications in terms of contagion to the financial system. So when I came into the circle, what I realized that once you are found in that kind of situation, so you are kind of constrained to spend money on what is called major capital assets that you need to renew. So, i.e., long throughout my stay, I'm not sure we got official cards that is valid until when we got into Polaris. But that is not even, that's not personal. But even in terms of the technology platform, we couldn't even change. Now, banking is run on the back of technology. So all we could do was manage it, fix it. You know what they call just keep the lights on. So if you are here, don't bother about too much of the construction. Just make sure that these lights come when you come in. So when we ran that for 2 years and we now came to Polaris, now that we have resolved the problem, it was now important because banking is very competitive. So it was now important for us to make sure we now become competitive after we resolve the problem. So if you be competitive, you now can refresh because you are now a new brand, you are now a better brand and all of that. So here is the experience now. Now, in the course of trying to go and to revamp the technology platform, we now have to bring in the OEMs, they call them the original equipment manufacturers. So we brought them in from, I think that they are US based company, working out of assessment of the entire platform. So when they were done, they now invited us to Dubai so that we can come and give us the outcome. So what was shocking was that when we got to Dubai, what they told us was that we needed to get rid of that platform. That banking and technology and had moved on to digital platforms. So all that you had will not meet today's whatever. So we came back, got necessary approvals and began the process of development. So by the time we were done, the next thing that came to surface was that the skill sets that we had within the system couldn't fit into this whatever. So it was shocking. So what did that? So how are we going to do that? I had the workforce of where we're coming from 11,000. We had 8,000 left. We can't throw them in the job market. We can't throw them out. At the same time, we needed to move on. So what we needed to do was that. So the solution was that we needed to hire new hands. So in a day, I can see, requests for 50 hires. I mean, within the period of I think 2 or 3 months, we needed to hire close to about 250 people. And all the qualifications those guys paraded, like just technology, innovation, digital and whatever certifications. They had degrees, but what they were parading for the job was more of their certification in the digital space. So how do you do that? So, and again, these people, they are not going to settle for whatever problem. So if we felt that we were managing ourselves gradually, so even salaries that we were gradually bringing up, they weren't ready to settle for that. It's either you hire them, pay them. So one, we had to create a new career path for them because we didn't want to also disrupt the system. So we had to bring them. So we had guys who never handled administration coming at some reasonable levels. Then you had the system to manage. So then okay, fine. This is what it is going to take. So as we brought them in, we now had to do a crash program. There's a company called, I'm trying to remember, what's the name of that company? If I remember, we had to bring them in, so they had to help us with a lot of crash programs. So we are running different cycles of programs for our staff, just for them to understand the foundation of the digital world so that they can use the system properly for what the customer interface required. So as we were doing that, the advice to the staff was that we can only do this foundational stuff. The world has changed around us. So once you get this, it's enough for you to retain your jobs. But for you to further your course, that means you have to improve yourself on your own. So each time I recall those women and talking about jobs for their children and the situation of the economy, what comes to mind is that yes, the economy might be struggling, but it's not to say that we do not have jobs. The jobs are limited, but the skills are now different. If you get what I mean, the skills. So, and if most of the graduates of our university, what they come out with, is more theoretical and all of that. universities don't have all of this modern sophistication. So as those people were talking to me, and I just realized that look, I can't promise you one. I mean, I'm sure those guys are their children are graduates and all of that, and I wouldn't want. I mean, you don't want to go and start giving them jobs that just doesn't match even the bit of qualification that they have. But the reality of the world is that look, those skills from the universities still need to be matched with the competence with the skill sets of today. You understand? And that's exactly what informed my own decision. On this place, I said my husband was not for 28 years. This place was almost going down because as you can imagine, all of myself and my siblings were all living in Lagos. You understand? So nobody was living there. You can imagine an abandoned property for about 28 years. So so the idea was, look, why don't I set up a facility that can help these young folks, upgrade their skills so that they can be employable, so that they can be entrepreneurial, and all of that, because that is the way the world has moved. So that is actually the trust behind this facility that we are in. And I just didn't even go out to set it up. There are two things. I moved around Lagos to actually see what facilities of this nature were. And I realized that, look, what this has done to all of us is that whether the young mind is in Damaturu or anywhere, your guess is as good as mine. Look, that guy, this phone that I'm holding, if you give it to that guy, I'm sure the capability here, he can access 50%. And all I do is under 10%. It means that the guy is actually in tune with the way the world is moving. So all he's asking you is that, look, give me a platform to actually realize my dreams. So and you speak to why these are to be settled. And I also know, so when I moved around Lagos and tried to see all of the technology centers that people are set up, what I also noticed is that most of our people, without pointing out any fingers to anybody, they always quick to say, I provided laptops, I provided iPads and all of that. But honestly, the truth is that is not the deal. That's not what they're asking for. What they're asking for is that you create, number one, for me, that inspirational center. Because I know what is going on in the world. You understand? They see everything, whether it's in China, whether it's in Japan, they see all this stuff. So they want an inspirational center or an experience center where, when I'm sleeping at night, I'm just eager to wake up in the morning and want to do this. That's the one. Two, it's not about even just setting it up for me, It also, you have to also create a faculty that teaches, that helps me to own in these ideas. And now, so for me, what I see that so the couple of things that we have done here is to actually create this facility, and now also look for the best in class faculty that can manage it on an ongoing basis. So that's why you have Timothy here. So I had to search around and look for the best, and the best that I could find was a company called Co-Creation Hub. And we represent Co-Creation Hub. So we have to come into a partnership whereby and I remember, and of course I'm sure all of you know the guy called Osotijani. That's the founder of Co-Creation Hub. Right? And I don't know whether all of these guys that we celebrate today, whether it's Flutterwave, whether it's Inyaboeji, all of them came out of this academy. The for those who know here, the has been here. If he tells the stories, he will tell you that when he was going into Co-Creation, he had his slippers, the rubber slippers on. But what has become of today. So so my own search actually led me to Bosu there. And of course, when Bosu and I spoke about that, and I told him the idea was going to be in my constituency office, he probably wasn't sure whether I was serious. And I later found out that, look, apart from the fact that, number one, it is only in the heart of Lagos that you can have stuff like this. People are not sure whether people around there can afford it because you have to pay for it. You understand? So that also led me to the fact that when you provide this facility, you are better off making it free. So for all of the people that we are going to see when we move around here, they are here free of charge. So number one, but you see again, you have to create that environment that is not only inspirational, but also has power, 24 hours, 24 hours power supply, and equally internet facility. I mean, by the time we go into some of the major achievements here, you also see that we have graduated a lot of different awards out of here. And some of them, and part of what we do is that just like the way we are here today, because this is like me, it keeps actually uplifts my own spirit. When I come here, even when I have down, anything that keeps my spirit low, anytime I get here, I get energized because I believe we are on the right course. Because when you are impacting on lives and you see the results. So what I do is I share this story with my friends. And I say my friends, my former colleagues and all of that. And they're always quick to say, "Hey, what come and look at this place." So some of the things beyond us actually training them is that I also bring people that they hear of them, either through the pages of paper, just find them in class, and they kind of give them inspirational talk. So that is about this place. So for me, I would say that the last 3 years that I've been in this saddle, so my focus really has been, well mapped out. It's not about roping in the dark, it's well mapped out. So one, I know that my constitutional role is legislation, lawmaking and all of that, and oversighting and all of that. But again, we have expanded that scope in Nigeria to now also include facilitation and empowerment. So you find legislators now getting involved in a lot of, things that the executive should be doing. I don't want to go into the ongoing saga. Do you understand? So, but you can understand the pressure that even the constituents to have been mapped on people. But for me, so I have them mapped in 3 pillars. So I have the legislative role, I have the empowerment and the facilitation, and of course, the endowment. So this particular facility sits on the endowment that I believe should be a give back to society, given the experience that I have also gathered over the years. So if you go through this document, the document that you have a compilation of all that has been done. So when you look at legislation, yes, I've been part of those. I actually championed the Copyright Act that has been updated now, because for those who know, what we inherited is the one from the military era. So during the Buhari regime, at least we started it and we were able to get it ascended to. So and they have several other bills too that are also well documented. And of course, in this current administration too, because I chair the committee on banking, insurance, and other financial institutions. So the focus is also more about how do we strengthen our regulatory environment. We know what we just came out of. So if you hear bills like amendment to the CBN Act, it's part of what we're trying to strengthen. And NDIC, I don't know how much I'm sure there are videos that have gone viral about some guy complaining about what is going on in the NDIC and all of that. I've also championed the amendment so as to cure what his concerns are. And so the insurance industry is not in the way that we know the way you find it in other climes. In other environments, insurance companies actually own banks. It's only in this part of the world, and so we need to also enhance the capacity of our insurance institutions. So we are also embarking on the reform of the insurance, both the insurance industry, both in terms of regulation and in terms of the operations as well. You understand? So that is my focus around that. Now, when it comes to empowerment and facilitation, now, just like I mentioned when I started, I started out with a needs assessment in order to understand needs and values. I am in support of a lot of the basic things of life that is required. So my own focus is more around education, health. So if you look at the brochure that you have, you see a lot of intervention in schools, development, and all of that. So in terms of health facilities too, primary health centers, I have been at the forefront, I've done about 3. But I also realized that managing them and managing them beyond construction too needs right thinking with the state government as well. Now, of course, the issue of power is a major issue at that point. So in terms of transformers too, so I become a distributor. It's not from my pocket. So when you hear constituency project, that's what I focus on. Just try to see, and of course, in terms of course, market, socio-economic development too. It's about involved in the improvement of some markets in the country. And very importantly too, the youth, as you improve their skills in terms of skills and innovation and digital work as well. Because the talent that is inherent in most whatever. So focus on the youth centers, mini stadia, and all of that is also part of what I try to focus on. So if you look at the list that you have there, I've been involved in the development of various youth centers. And of course, you can't do all of this and also not show empathy. Because I recall when I first came in, it was still the COVID era. So part of what I also instituted was also some social welfare scheme that kind of impact directly on the vulnerable members of the society. And here in my own constituency, what I try to do is to have a systemic way of identifying people, because we are very quick to forget that once elections are over, what is next is governance. So rather than just focusing on the party alone, we must also look at the expanded society, the extended society. So what we try to do here is that in all of the things we try to do, we try to make sure that it is fairly distributed. You understand? And so when you have people referring to me as doing good, is doing good to the largest number, doing good to the greatest number of people, and possibly the largest, impacting them. Because forgetting, all of us, most of us politicians, we have serious trust deficit out there because they believe that our concern is just around ourselves. So, but here we can't impact on everybody, but we try to have a system that tries to touch. So, in any distribution, we define what vulnerable members of the society are. So, people like widows, aged people, young people without jobs, the women folk, and people living with physical disabilities. So when we're distributing anything, we tell the party structure to select people along those categories. So when they give us, during the COVID era, we had a scheme that had a basket of 2,500 people. So on a monthly basis, we try to dispense 5,000 naira to them. And we try to do it in a very systemic way. So it's not because you have identified such people and you give the money to them. No, you identify them and you give us the details of the people. So their name, their bank details and all of that. So that even if you have misunderstanding with those people, you cannot take them away from us. So those guys get their credit directly. And that has actually helped us, because even during the last elections too, we have created enough database of even trying to reach out to people. So all that we try to do is that we make sure that you just want to be fair. To be frank with you guys, it's a tough call within the party structure, but they've accepted me where I am. You will get your own, but let's try and also push things out into the public. So I think so in that area too we are done. Then of course, because of what I would describe as a focus on the youth, right, and also on the next generation. Because when you look at even the demography of the country today, anybody will tell you that easily the youths they account for close to 60 to 65%. Now, in a population of 200 and something million people, good as that may be, but it can be a burden. So we have got to find a way to instill them, to upgrade their skills, and bring some, this center again. So like I said, this center essentially is to focus on how do we continue to impact on the next generation. How do we make them employable? How do we? So what we have been able to do, what we are doing here, apart from just making the ambience good and all of that, is that the basic innovation and digital skills that we do here. But now they are put them in about 5 or 6 categories. So we have what is called the tech talent, and that tech talent, is a 6-month program. So ours is not about We are not particular about certification. We are particular about what you can do with your hands, what you can do, what you can use. I mean, because the world, the real what I mean, what they call development is, improving the status of societal challenges. So the tech talent program that we do here is a 6 month program that is free and is essentially to bring in, people either, mostly people who are they graduated from school, but who don't have technology skills, like novice. So by the time we bring them into this facility, after 6 months, they become, foundational, digital, software engineers. That's what. Then you also have what is called the accelerators program. So it's also to also improve those who are already entrepreneurial, but also let them know how they can use technology to kind of improve their business model. Then we also have what we call data science. The world that we are living in now is more on, data and of course artificial intelligence and all of that. You will see some of the guys once you move around there. So again, that's another program that runs for another 6 months. And of course, there is what we also call a program for the public schools around there. For the young minds and those who are just between, awaiting university admission and all of that. We call it the STEM program. So we have a STEM cafe, like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So they get exposed very early. So, and we, of course, part of what we do is that we actually have a standby force that will go to those schools. We have our we just bring them there. And honestly, you just need to see the joy of those guys when they come here. It's like, when they are here. I'm sure if they have the opportunity of not going back to their school, they rather just stay. They just have to go because this is just a private initiative. Now you cannot be doing all of this and not also impact the teachers. So we have what is called the Teachers Fellowship Program. So if you look at, so that is also to begin to expose our teachers to what is called inquiry-based learning. And I'm happy to report that at least to date, since we started this facility way back in 2021, I think we have taught the lives of close to about 1,670 people in class. But again, we also run, of course, remote arrangement, and of course, another 3,000 via the remote learning arrangement. But the best of those remote learning arrangements, we try to bring them in class. It's still a small facility today. What we have, given the size of the society, but it's a way of leading and also showing people that this is actually what we need to do, for society, so that people can be. So if only that we can get others to key into this. So it's not a matter of just creating a lab, setting up a lab and putting computers there. You create a lab, make the environment inspirational, put in those who will manage the faculty. I think at best this is all I have here. I don't have my own personal office here. So when I come here, I hang around because the faculty is managed by another team called the CCO. And of course, your place is as good as mine. They are not into welfare business. You understand? So that means they have to get paid. But it gives me joy to pay it. It gives me that joy because I believe that we're impacting on life. And I'm happy to report that part of the end result, for the outcomes that we expect is that, just like I mentioned, when I bring people here to come and speak to them, you also find such people who are also leading entrepreneurs in the society. They are also taking up some of these people in terms of employability. But the recent one that is now our flagship is that today, we are very proud to also see that we now have a partnership with an artificial intelligence company out of England called Awari. You know Awari. You know what Awari? You are searching and you are found. So there is a guy called Silas. What? Adekuli is one of the highest paid robotic engineers in Europe. You can Google it. You understand? And I think it's been on the rise once or twice. That guy owns Awari artificial intelligence. So their first call in the country is here, and I'm not sure they have got any other way down, to any place yet. So what they do is that, so what the partnership we have is that they have been able to absorb about 106 out of the people that we have trained here, and giving them jobs, and you will see them. And so the only constraint that they have given us is that they are making use of this facility for these young minds to work for them. So as we move around, you will see all of these guys hanging around. I mean, what hanging around, seated and working. So these are guys, number one, they've been trained. Number two, you have also given them permanent job. Today, the pay might not be that fantastic. It's about what is a good starting point. So average pay is about 200,000 naira. I'm sure we're still struggling with national minimum wage. So you can imagine, a young man that you have picked from the street and is in this facility trained, and they are also. And the good news is that even the Awari AI, their intention was that okay, they will come here, they will look at some of the skills that we have trained and see how they can kind of upscale them so that they fit into what they want in terms of area of artificial intelligence. But they were amazed as to the fact that they didn't have to do anything in terms of training anymore, because they thought that the basic level and the basic foundation experience they have is just enough. So you see them working there, but I'm sure it's a good way to start out in life. So my own charge to them, most times when I come and I speak to them, is that look, this is just basic and foundational. If you want to go higher, it's up to you, because there is a limit to what I can do. So, but at least that impact is so easy for me. It is very gratifying and very fulfilling. So even today, even when I leave politics and give back, if you ask me that what is my greatest joy, this is my greatest joy. This is my greatest joy. So that is also wrapped up. Yes, the other things that were done is in the area of, I'm sure you'll have seen it, because I'm very particular about actually making people useful to themselves. So rather than giving handouts all the time is really not my thing. I do it. You will see that I've done, I do quarterly food distribution, and I also make sure that it's always very massive. But I always like to equip people so that they can move on. They can be better used. So if you see there's a program there called Constituency Revolving Loan. We have it, it's about 300 million now. We are hoping to enhance to 500 million. But we try to do, when we do things, we try to do it in a manner that it doesn't put additional pressure, so that people don't abuse it. People will think that ordinarily this is now share of dividend of technology. No. So that kind of fund is not managed there. We gave it to Lagos State Employment Trust. Even our terms of engagement is a lot better than theirs. It's about 6%. But you see, the good thing I would do, one thing I like to say about it is that you have a good initiative, right? People will come to your aid, right? And when we were going to do the initiative, all we had was 100 million. But we invited the MD of the Bank of Industry to be part of that session. But when he listened to the terms and all of that, on the spot there, he promised that the Bank of Industry will give us additional 100. And of course, LSETF, when we also said to them that they will manage the fund, said beyond managing, what can you do and what will you do? They also give additional 100. That's how we came about the 300. So because in everything that we do, we try to find a way to make it sustainable. So they have their conditions. As much as, when I have the opportunity, I give grants to the constituent. But you see, what really helps if you give a real, not challenge, a support that has an obligation, that puts an obligation on the recipient. What you are telling the guy is that, look, it's an opportunity. The best I can do is to give you soft landing. So if I say I give you a loan, whether it's 500,000 or 1 million naira, I think the maximum is 1 million naira. But the interest rate is just 6%. I don't know where you can find it in this country. Unless somebody will guide you. And we also try to make the conditions very minimal, because having gone through banking, I know what it is to obtain a loan. So there is nothing like any collateral. All we just need is reference from either your community leader, so that there is somebody we can reach out to. And we plead to the university that when you take it and return, we give opportunity for others to make use of it. Those are the things that I think are enduring if we must support society. They might look small, but believe me, that's the capacity that I have right now. But I will have opportunity to enhance, and I hope that even this gathering too, maybe you want to contribute to it, you are welcome. You can join the back and say this is your own contribution. Or that's some, Mr. Momo, you know, I mean, so maybe at this point, maybe I should pause and just to let you know that as we have here, as we have this facility here, you know, people will tell me, you know, this is um, the Lagos East Senatorial District, and it comprises of course, Egbe, Ibejuleki, Osofre, Shomodu, and of course all of the NCDA. So as we went, oftentimes people will say, maybe because it's from everything is around the no. You know, I always remind them that look, they forget that I've just been 3 years in this circle. I don't know, you might say 3 years is a long time. In politics, it's not a long time. You haven't seen anything, you are still learning. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a picture here I would like you to show it. So as we have done this here, the facility you see here is an adaptation. This will be this is my family house that we adapted to this. Now, this is actually the plan for Ibejuleki that we hope to realize in the next few years. So if we put another facility of this nature, I'll put it in this kind of location, so that it will help people within the corridor of Ibejuleki and Egbe. So the young folk, they are everywhere. And this is this is along a strategic road. You know the road that leads to the refinery. Yes. Some people said to me in the Ibejuleki, no, if I put it inside Lekki, not along that road. I say no, just make it inspirational. The young minds will find their way to the place. That is what I've learned. You need to be here by 8 a.m. in the morning. You will see how people are queuing to come in here. That is what these young folks are asking for. Just a platform for them to begin to nurture and realize their dreams. So for now, maybe I should stop at this point. We do this. Ultimate game too is that we need to develop a talent city, but you know, I don't know when that is going to happen. But at least let's try and spread this concept. Because if we are able to do this kind of facility here, I think by the grace of God, what we will do. I can tell you that Awari is artificial intelligence. You know, the provision here is for them to have about a location that can seat about 200 people. And you can imagine what that would do for our young man. So giving them jobs and giving them a space to, experience and explore. So at this point, maybe I should pause. Okay, so the way we will do this talk has this to what this place used to be. They will be speaking to what it is.
What it has become.
Yeah, what it has become. So where we are, right? So this used to be my old man's, what you can call like an antero. You know, all those baba they like to express themselves. And this used to be his garage.
His garage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his car, LA8G. All those systems used to be here. And another Nissan, LA1404G. You know, those are his two special cars. So that is what we have kind of reconfigured here. So we now move. So I'll leave it to what my room used to be.
Okay, which is the item. We get it a variable name, and it's called item, and it's capturing everything that we have inside of the array. Good morning, sir. And the second parameter is called index. Yeah, just like we've learned so far inside of our class. What does index do for us? The position of what we have inside of our array, yes or no? Yes. Okay, so it's possible for us, it's not possible for us to have the same index, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so each of the items inside of the array takes different index, yes or no?
Yes.
Based on the position of the item inside of the array. Okay, so we use that as our identifier here, and this key takes our index. So we have to not try an error in that case. Do we understand?
Yes.
Technical plans that I mentioned to you, and I don't know whether any one of you guys would like to have a word or just even if it's just a word of encouragement or inspiration.
I don't want to pick one person. Why are you here?
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Ibrahim.
Let's say,
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Ismail Ibrahim. So I applied for the tech talent when I saw it on Twitter. I actually saw it on Twitter. I am a business person. I
Okay.
have a shop at Bangulas.
And what do you do in the shop?
We sell fashion items.
Okay.
So I felt combining the knowledge of technology, what I'm doing, would actually still
Have you read of Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Does it resonate with what you are doing?
very well.
How?
Uh, it is technology is a leverage. It gives you that leverage to actually scale up your business.
Because Steve Jobs was using technology and art. That's why we have cell phone.
Yeah.
Yes. So it kind of resonates with you. You're bringing fashion and bringing technology into it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
so see, so part of what I can say here too is that see when we say we try to be fair and be sincere, I'm sure I don't know any one of you apart from meeting you here. So there is a very transparent and independent process of selection which you might speak to. So it's not about bullying anybody. It's about you throw it up out there in the public. People will apply and will assess it, and based on that, we get what you want to speak more to.
Yeah, so in terms of the selection, like you said, it's very, very transparent. Usually, when we comment, we usually send out the call for application. I want to send out that call for application. Interestingly, we get into the program at the end.
Okay, and you know,
6 months. This 6 months, 6 months.
and you know, you see, what they don't know that they are already putting themselves into test.
Yes.
So that's you know when you go to MBA school, that's how MBA is now. So it's like I take this as mini MBA. Now, but do we charge you anything?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Thank you.
So if you, after this set, before you call for another, push out another call for application, or you push out the application to apply before this set runs.
So it's two things. Already, we have a wait list of people who continuously show interest in our program. So we get their details. So that once this program is about to start, we can also include them into the pool of those who are going to consider for the program. But of course, we run several other programs. So virtually every month, every 2 months, we have one call for application and the other that's going on. Currently, we have the one for data science. On that application already, we have over 4,000 that applied. You understand?
It tells you that we need
Exactly.
out there. So it's just for us to find a way to create that platform to run to. Exactly.
So for those who may not make it the first time, they have opportunity to reapply.
Yes, they have the opportunity to reapply. And aside that, we have a virtual program too for those who cannot make it to class. But maybe due to one, they qualify, but maybe because of distance or something, they can't make it to this. So we bring them to the virtual program.
Yeah, but you give them food.
So we do that once a week.
Once a week.
Yes.
Oh, we'll appreciate if you too. You can be part of your generation. I'm available to everything. Yes.
Yes.
A high chief of this environment. That's why we are brought.
Have you accepted?
Where she's able to control his educational system and he feels it's a fun functionality while building games. That's what game development is.
Thank you.
So we have a quick demo. This game is, we modeled the cell building, and this is an educational game. The plan with this game is to teach people how to keep this facility and every other facility they see. Let's do the demo. So this is the demo.
It's a fever, it's a fever, lying on the floor, lying on the floor.